Alright, what's up, y'all? So, in my, in the channel updates video, right, I was looking at the comments, and it was highly requested to do a cam review video, right? So I decided I'm just going to go over all the different types of cams I have, right? So these are, I tried to pick out similar sizes, but some cams I only have like one size of, like, I think this is the X4. Yeah, that's the X4, and then, you know, we just have a whole amalgamation of cams to go through today. So, yeah, I'm hoping this can be a little mini series because I have a ton of gear, and I'm sure everybody would love to see it and would love to learn about it so you can make educated decisions about your next purchase. So, we will get right into this. So, where to start? I guess we'll start off with the most basic cam. I actually don't even have a normal C4 with me. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. So, the basic C4, right? Can't go wrong with this cam. It's your workhorse of cams. Everybody has it. Everybody I've met has at least one C4. It's just the most basic kind of cam. Yeah, it works in every situation, really. You're not going to have any problems with it. Have a long lifespan. Overall, great cam for your first purchase. These were my first cams that I got. I've never had a problem with them. They're great. All right, I guess I will put this down here. Okay, next, let's go into a variation of the C4. So this, I only have one of them. So this is an Ultralight C4. So this is nice. I like this. You can definitely tell a difference between this and the normal one. This is so much lighter. It's such a notable difference. It's crazy. So for those hard red points, these can definitely play a big role. One thing I'd like to mention about this, though, is as you can see, it has a Dyneema core rather than a normal C4. All normal C4s are going to have a steel core, right? So this will last forever. You can get it reslung and not have to worry about it. The only thing on this that will go bad, other than just normal wear and tear that you should be looking out for, is the sling. And you can get that reslung and not have to worry about it, right? But on the other hand, since this is a Dyneema core, this will go bad without use after 10 years. So even if this sits in a shed, perfect condition, like perfect environment, this will go bad after 10 years, and it costs more to replace this than it does to just buy a new cam. So after 10 years, you will have to completely replace the whole cam, whereas like a normal C4, you don't have that problem. You can just get it reslung. If I were to have that sit in my closet for 10 years, it would be fine. So yeah, other than that issue, I have really not had a problem with this. I personally enjoy these. Personally, I'm not going to get any more of them because I don't want to have to worry about the core going bad or anything like that. But I'm not saying you shouldn't buy this because it is a great cam. But that's just the only disadvantage I have to that cam. But the advantage of the weight is very significant. Okay, I guess we will continue down the black diamond line. So this is the Z4. I really enjoy these cams. These are really great micro cams because of the head width compared to some of the older cams in the lineup. If you compare this to the same size, these are the same size cams, as you can see. If you compare the head widths, though, this is about 3/4 of the size. Now, this can make a huge difference if you're aiding or for those really, really shallow placements. And I have whipped on cams that have been right on the edge, and it would not have fit if it wasn't a Z4. So this is the Z4 cam. I've heard some friends that have tried them before tell me they didn't like them because eventually they do get gunked up. And I've noticed that as well. They do get a little bit gunked up, but it's really not that noticeable in the bigger sizes like 0.5, 0.75, 0.4, 0.3, but 0.2, 0.1, and a 0 or a 000 for C3 sizes. I do notice that. They do get a gunked up feeling after a while, but I really don't have that problem. I love these cams for free climbing. And just they're great overall. One cool feature about this cam is that the stem, whenever it's meant so that whenever you pull it down, this stiffens and it gets really stiff to make it easier to put in. But then whenever you release a trigger, as you can see, it gets much more floppy. So this can be good for horizontal placements, but I've whipped on this cam many times and it's held up perfectly fine. All right, so this is a ZX4. Yes, X4. So these cams are great. I love these cams. So these came before the Z4s, and I think the Z4s were kind of meant to replace these. But these are great cams. I've never had a problem with these. They do get gunked up, but not as much as the Z4s. These are great cams. They don't make them anymore, so if you can find them, I would definitely pick them up. But this really has the same concept as the Z4s. It's just the stem doesn't have the locking function to it. But yeah, these are great as well. You can also notice let's do a comparison right here. This is a different size, but you can see this is a smaller size, and the head width is probably about like half a lobe thicker. Although you gotta remember, this is a 0.4 and this is a 0.5, so if I had to guess, in the 0.4 size, this is probably gonna be about a lobe smaller than this one. So there is still that advantage of the head width for this. Okay, next cam. My personal favorite cams are Dragonflies. These cams are stellar. These are the best cams I have ever used, hands down. My favorite cams for free climbing. They are absolutely great. All of the smaller sizes, what's really interesting is that they don't get gunked up like the Z4s or the X4s or really any other smaller cams tend to have that problem of getting gunked up, and I have never had that problem with these. So these are called Dragonflies. Not only do they not get gunked up, but they have the extendable sling, which I find myself using very often to save weight, and because a lot of times when you just clip straight into a cam, you'll have the problem of walking, and you don't have that problem with this. But yeah, these are just great cams. Again, with that head width, let's look at it compared to a Z4. So as you can see, it's actually exactly the same. One thing I will note about Dragonflies, if you look at the sizes, this is closer to a 0.4 than it is to a 0.5. So if you're buying them, keep that in mind. It's really right in between a 0.4 and a 0.5, but leaning more towards the 0.4. So when I rack this in my brain as if it's a 0.4. So if I want to grab a 0.5, I grab this, plug it in, it's bomber. I've whipped on these cams many times before as well. All right, next we have the Dragon. So this is also made by DMM. This is like the Dragonfly, except these are for their larger sizes. They make these down to a 0.3, and then it goes into Dragonflies, but they make Dragonflies up to a 0.5. So these are really nice. These are super smooth. So these are kind of going to be your replacement for C4s. So like I said before, since it's made by DMM, this also has the extendable sling, which is awesome in my opinion. I love this feature. It's pretty much the exact same sizing as C4s. Yeah. So these are great cams, all great cams. One thing to note, these do not have a thumb loop. So these aren't great for aiding. C4s you can use for aiding because they have the thumb loop. So you can clip directly in there, stand up on it, and get those couple, like 3 or 4 extra inches. But this, you cannot do that. You have to clip directly into the sling, which, if you're doing a big wall, can make a big difference. But for free climbing, these are great. All right. So now we're moving into the stranger kind of things. So this is a Totem. These cams are widely known to be the best cams for aid climbing for many reasons. First of all, the first being you have these 2 loops. You can clip either one of them. So for aid climbing, you can clip right up in here to get as much height as possible. The head width, again, is incredibly small compared to C4s and things like that. Let's see. So another thing is that the way that they load the actual cams. So as you can see with like a normal cam, right? You have a singular stem going down and then to the sling, right? With this cam, you don't have that. You have a bunch of stuff going on here. So the lobes are actually connected directly to the sling, which is really interesting. But it makes the loading way different, and it makes these fit, stay, and hold in a lot of placements where this will not hold. But yeah, so these are great cams. Another cool feature about this for aid climbing is due to the way that the lobes are connected to the stem, you can actually clip directly into the I don't know what to call it, the one side of the stem, I guess. And this will hold a body weight placement, or it says it will only hold a body weight placement. I've heard of a few stories of people falling on it in only 2 load placements and it holding, but I would recommend that. But yeah, totems are super cool. The only disadvantage of them is that they're a bit heavy, but the so unless you're like doing some like crazy like 514, like, so I don't know, just some wild thing where every gram or ounce counts, these make a huge difference. The only disadvantage other than the weight is that they are a little expensive. These go to about $80 to $90 a piece, whereas like a C4 you can get brand new for $70. But other than that, these are excellent cams. I have a full rack of them up to number 1. I've heard people say they didn't like the number 2 because, as you can see, it's very floppy. So I've heard people say they have had problems with the number 2 size. But yeah, these are excellent cams. Now we get to this is the worst cam I've ever owned, honestly. I mean, it works. It will hold a fall. I will say that. So I'm not gonna hate on it too much. This is the cheapest cam I own. You can get these, I've seen these go brand new for about $40 to $45 before. If you find the right sale, you can get these dirt cheap. Like, these are the cheapest cams that you can find. They do have the nice extendable sling feature, right? And that is nice. I tend to not bring this free climbing. You can see it just, the whole thing is just made very cheaply. So this is a Trango Trango Friend, I think, or FlexCam, that's what it is. It's called a FlexCam. But I mean, if you're gonna buy, if you're just getting into trad climbing, I really recommend, don't waste your money. Just save up, buy some nice cams. I'm not saying go buy totems, because, you know, not everybody needs those. I'm saying go buy some C4s, some Dragons, some Dragonflies. Those will all last you plenty long. This cam, on the other hand, has not, obviously you can see I really don't use it that much, and it's kind of trashed. But like, if you're really short on money, this will do. This will protect you. I'm not saying it's not safe. It is safe, but you should use your money wisely. Go out, buy some nice cams that will last you a really long time. Okay, so I'm just gonna go back one more time, list them all off. So these are Trango FlexCams, DMM Dragons, Black Diamond C4s. These are Z4s. This is a Totem. This is a Dragonfly, my personal favorite. The Black Diamond Ultralight and the Black Diamond X4. All right, so one last thing I'd like to go over before we start looking more in depth, like a size comparison, are offset cams. Now these are going to be way more specialized in their uses and more area based. So these are the DMM Dragonfly offsets. So an offset cam is basically just the same thing as the cam, except the 2 sides of the lobes are going to be different size. So for example, this is a 0.4, 0.5 offset, as you can see. So if you have a flared crack, you can put this in and it'll hold significantly better than a normal cam. But they make 4 different sizes. So this one's a 0.4, 0.3, 0.3, 0.2, and 0.2, 0.1. So I've used these in a couple situations. I haven't free climbed with them because I just got them recently. But I have used them for aid climbing, and I can definitely recommend them. That if you're an aid heavy person and you're looking to improve your rack and have a lot more versatility, these will take you a long way. These fit great in pin scars. I was doing an A3 pitch solo on the north side of Looking Glass called Scott Fisher's Memorial Route, and there's a feature called the synapse ramp, and I was able to fit a 0.3, 0.2 in a pin scar, and that was very relieving after placing multiple peckers, a lost arrow in a row. But yeah, so these are great cams. Again, with the Dragonflies, you get the same quality as a normal Dragon, or as a normal Dragonfly with these guys, and these are just awesome in every way. All right, let's do a size comparison. Alright, so first cam we'll start with is the C4, and you guys can get a better look at that. So C4, just your standard 0.5 C4, right? So right there, right? So that's probably a pretty good placement. It's a little on the edge, and here is where you can really see the difference. So this is the Z4, right? If we put this in, you can see like there's a dramatic difference there, right? So the lobes are peeking out on this one. On this one, the lobes are sunk in there deep. Like, that's not even a problem. That's truck. That's good. That's really good. So there's where you can see like the big advantage. So these are like the same size width-wise, but you can see the big advantage with this one. So if we try and put a Dragonfly, right, in the same spot, you can see it's pretty wide. I mean, this was still, you can see it's pretty wide, right? So we would want to move it down here more. That's pretty good. That's truck. But you can also see the same advantage with the Dragonfly lobes. If I push that all the way to the back, you still got like maybe a lobe or maybe even two lobes between the outer lobe and the face of the crack. That's in there deep. That's good. But yeah, there's another advantage with those. If we look at the Totem, right, we can put that up here. You have the same advantage. It's like in between a C4 and a Dragonfly. That is really good, right, because there's a Totem, obviously. It's peeking out a little bit on the face, but what's cool is that you can do this. As you can see, there's only, let me put that in a little farther. So you can see the outer lobes are fully fully umbrellaed, right? But if I, let's see, if I clip an 8er or a quick shot of this, I mean, that's not coming out. In fact, I'm gonna show you. I'm hanging on it. I mean, that's good. Like, you cannot do that with any other cam. And it comes out just as easy. So, just as an example, right? If we try and do that with like a C4, right, put it in halfway, it might work, but as you can see, it's gonna, if you clip it from the main loop, it's gonna want to push into the crack, right? You don't have that problem with that though, with the Totem, because you can clip it on that one side of the stem there. But yeah, so there's Totems, Dragonflies, all that. So this is a X4. As you can see, I gotta place it down a little bit lower because it's a smaller size, but this is good. I like X4s. I've whipped on this before. These are great cams. You know, I have nothing bad to say about it. As you can see, yeah, it's just a great cam. And then we can look at offsets really quick. So this is a 0.5, 0.4. This is probably not gonna work the best in this crack, but as you can see, I can actually probably put it in backwards. So as you can see, probably look at the 0.5, 0.4. If you watch the back two lobes, they're fully engaged in the back there. But as you can see, the frontal lobes are super wide. Usually you would place it the opposite way because most cracks flare out and you can't get it in the crack itself if it's flaring like inwards kind of. But just as a demonstration, you can see, like if I place it down here, the back lobes are fully engaged and the front lobes are not, just to show like the size difference. Now let's look at some horizontal placements, just as an example. So, Totems, first of all, if I put these in sideways and pull them around the corner, you can see that's chilling, right? The bend on that is great, and they just bend right back to how they were. So that's Totems. Totems are great for horizontal placements like that. C4s aren't as good, right? Because you have a piece of metal here. So I wouldn't want to whip on this if it was really that close to the edge, because you can kind of see on the C4 you have a bit of metal here that is putting pressure around that crack, right? So it's at this point, instead of pulling on the cam at an outward and around kind of angle, you're torquing it into the crack, and that's not as good. .4s, you kind of have the same problem because you have that solid metal shaft there a little bit. But obviously it's not as big of a problem because of the head size. It's just like, this is fine. I would whip on this. This is good. Let's see here. So we got the Z4. You have a little bit of the same problem, but it's not as bad with this, just because how they designed it, the stem to be super flexible. So we put that in. That's truck. I mean, that's perfect. It's not going anywhere. So yeah. Now we're gonna move over to the larger crack, and I can show y'all some of the normal or the bigger cams. We have arrived at the smaller crack, or the bigger crack. So here we have a Dragon cam, and these are some of my favorites. We'll place it down here. It's a little tight for it. As you can see, I mean, that goes in. This is truck. I can hang on it. It's not going anywhere. Same with the Ultralight. You know, that's like ridiculously over cam, but again, that's not going anywhere. Here's the 0.75 Trango FlexCam, which personally I'm not really a fan of, but maybe we can get it to stay. Yeah, so there it is. It kind of, put it down lower. Maybe we can get it to stay a little better. No, it's not. But y'all get the point. Maybe that'll hold. Nope. Okay. But yeah, so y'all get the point. Yeah. So Trango FlexCams, they will do the job, but obviously they're not the greatest. But this is also not the right size for this cam. So, you know. Okay, guys. So one quick thing I forgot to mention is there is actually another difference in these cams. So other than like the obvious stuff, this is a single axle cam. As you can see, there's only one pin in the middle, keeping the lobes on a singular axis. But on the Black Diamond C4, you have 2 pins. So this is actually, so in theory, right, having 2 pins gives you a wider range of motion, so a wider range for the cam. But there is a disadvantage, and I can show that here. If you put a cam in like this, just ignore the fact that it's obviously not a great placement, but if you move a cam like this, or if you walk it side to side, it's not going to walk as well as this, because since this is on a double axis point, if you try and move it side to side, it's going to want to move the head, right? But since this is literally almost on a bearing, in some sense, you can see, I mean, it's like literally just dangling. It's not even connected to the head. Whereas this, you can see, that's actually a great example. Yeah, you can see it's actually moving it up here, and it's wanting to move the actual lobes. On this, there's no movement on the lobes at all. So I wouldn't really let that influence your purchasing decision, but that's just another advantage of the Dragonflies. I really prefer that single axle stem, and it really just doesn't take away that much range. Like in theory, this has a little bit more range than like a normal cam, like a single axle cam would, but it really doesn't make a noticeable difference in my opinion. But yeah, Dragonflies are the best cam ever. I'm telling you guys. Yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for the cams. If y'all want to see more videos like this, leave a comment below, and I'll try my best to do that. I have a lot of more ideas I can do, you know, like just carabiners, ropes, nuts. I can get into aid gear, haul bag review, portal edge review. You know, it's whatever you guys would like to see. But yes, so cams, they're awesome. If If you have any questions, again, leave it in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer all of them. If I left something out, let me know, and I'll try my best to fill in. But I appreciate you watching. Yeah, thank you for watching. Please consider subscribing. I'll link my Instagram down below. You can shoot me a message on there if you have any questions regarding anything else. But yeah, thanks for watching.